My BF wanted me to do an IQ test to prove how intellectually superior he was. When I was 17 at the time, I had a boyfriend who was very pretentious. I personally always found that funny, so I didn't mind. However, he was hell-bent on proving how much more intelligent he was than me. One day, he was bragging about an online IQ test he did and how smart he was. He begged me to do one as well. However, I had just smoked and was high, so I refused. After some more begging, I decided why not? It could be fun. Despite being high, I scored higher on the IQ test. He was so pissed it was hilarious. He never bragged about his IQ test again. Another time, he really wanted to show off by playing chess against me. I'm really bad at the game and told him so. But I knew people who were good and they gave me the advice to never have a pawn that was not protected by another. So I did just that. Halfway through I had captured most of his pawn and he raged quit. At chess, he flipped the board and broke some of his pieces. Needless to say, a week or two after we were no longer together, I made him too insecure and he went back to his ex, who he called extremely stupid. At least he gave me a lot of laughing materials for years to come. Anyone who wants and needs to prove that they're smarter usually isn't. My ex-husband was like this, but much more covert. He would likely act like neither bothered him, or invalidate the test and say he was taking it easy on me with the chess game, or punished me somehow. Hours, days, weeks, months, or even years after, as we speak, I'm trying to talk my daughter back into going to college because his self-worth is so wrapped up in how smart he is, that he convinced her she's not college material, so she couldn't surpass him. I know that's what he's doing, as farcical as that seems, because he did the same with me. Then, when I went back to school a few years ago, and especially when he heard about my 4.0, he wouldn't pass up a chance to laugh at my easy classes and my major in psychology, aka unemployment. So freaking slimy. Good job putting that creep in his place. Anyone who wants to play chess only against people who won't win has issues that need a therapist. Bullet dodged successfully. What a fragile individual. The fact that he bragged about getting a high IQ from an online IQ test tells a lot about how intelligent he is. Around 20 years ago, I worked with a guy named Thomas who always thought he was smarter than everyone else. He had taken an online IQ test and bragged to everyone at work about his score of 145. He tried getting all of us to take it and would ask about it every day. I finally broke down and took it just to shut him up and scored 149. Surprisingly, that did not bother him as much as I expected. There was a girl named Christy that also worked with us who he kept pestering to take the test. She confided to me that she had already taken it, but scored much lower than Thomas. She did not want him to know because she knew he would never let her forget. I told her to just tell him she finally took it and scored 155, because I knew that would drive him crazy. Later in the shift, Christy told me that she had told Thomas she had scored 155 on the test. He did not believe her. He knew, beyond a shadow of a doubt, there was no way she scored higher than him. He told her the only way he would believe her was if she sent him a screenshot of her score. I told her to let him know that she would email it to him. That night, I went home and took the test again. I knew which questions I most likely got wrong, so it only took me a couple of tries to have the correct answers to all of the questions. I printed those out and took them to Christy the next day. That day, she told Thomas that she forgot to email him her results but would do so before work the next day. When I saw Christy the following day, she was grinning from ear to ear. She said she had to take the test a few times to miss the right number of questions and finish in a time frame that gave her a 155 score. When she did, she emailed a screenshot to Thomas. He was very upset that she had scored higher than him. I made a point of rubbing it in when I saw Thomas that Christy was smarter than him. He still couldn't believe it, but could not deny the proof. The second time that I mentioned Christy's higher score to him, he smugly said something like, "Well, she scored higher than you, too." I just looked him straight in the eye and said, "The difference is, it doesn't bother me that Christy is smarter than me. I know it just kills you, though." He went on for the rest of the day about how he couldn't believe Christy was that smart. Once in a while during the time I worked with Thomas, I would bring up the fact that Christy was smarter than either one of us. He passed away a few years ago. I never did tell him what really happened. I used to play chess with my wife, then girlfriend, and I was really impressed how quickly she went from not knowing how to play to being a real challenge. 30 years later, she has 4 degrees and is principal scientist at her company. She's smarter than me. She makes more money than me. She's better looking than me. All because I'm good to her and can make her laugh. Great story. He's probably still mad. Point of information. You do know that those online IQ tests are invalid, don't you? Dating is designed to weed out losers, which you did. People who boast about their IQ are losers. Stephen Hawking. My wife is crazy smart. I never really understood this bit, but one of the things she really liked about me when we first started dating was that I was cool with it. I never tried to claim that I could also get a PhD if I wanted, nor tried to diminish her for intelligence. It was apparently a problem she always faced with guys she dated for some reason. I still don't get why. Who would be anything other than flattered if a smart, beautiful woman likes you? Lol. One of my brothers has spent his life hell-bent on making me look stupid. I ignored it as it wasn't worth the battle against his arrogance. Just the other day he popped off with one of his usual snide remarks and I finally confronted him on it and told him my documented IQ score. Instant silence from the peanut gallery, and he has been oddly pleasant ever since. LMAO. I have an ex who was a snowboarder while I was a skier. I was healing a broken ankle at the time, but I could ski very gently on easy slopes without issue. Not the smartest decision, but I never said I was smart. He wanted to try skiing. I offered to hook him up with another skiing friend to teach him the basics because I was neither in condition to teach nor was he the kind to learn well from a romantic partner. Which is totally fair. He refused, and made a point of announcing multiple times to, "Don't feel bad when I pick this up quickly. I'm just good at this stuff." He insisted on running an advanced run. I told him I wasn't comfortable with my ankle the way it was, but he begged and I surrendered. At the top I reevaluated and decided it was not a good idea, and took ride of shame down the lift. Needless to say, I enjoyed casually skiing up to him on my ginger lap at the bottom of the hill to help him untangle his limbs from an otherwise easily avoided crash had he taken my advice to seek lessons and start small. He called it quits on the skis only a few runs in, and we didn't last much longer after that. Anyone who needs to brag about their IQ is super insecure. I had a girlfriend once. No, I did. Honest. Stop interrupting. Who was really good at chess, having played in tournaments as a teen, and she challenged me to a game. I wasn't really interested in chess, but I knew the rules. So we sat down to play. Both of us fully expecting me to lose. Quickly and badly. Long story short, I had no idea how to play offensively, so I just settled into full-on defense mode and stayed that way for several hours. We abandoned the game in the end when she decided that she just couldn't beat me. My ineptitude made me entirely too unpredictable, and there was no way she could lure me into any traps, 'cause I was too dumb to recognize any of her bait. Lol. Happily, she didn't have an egotistical bone in her body, so we were both able to laugh about it and it wasn't an issue. Of course, we never played again. Grin. Those who know the least usually know it loudest. Reminds me of my first BF. Of course now ex. We were studying the same major and we had this class together, really hard and difficult to understand. For some reason I was good at it, and the day after one exam the teacher said there were only like 2 perfect scores, and so I told my BF, "Hey, I'm sure I'm one of them," and so he goes, "Yeah, sure. Whatever," and even after explaining how I thought the exam was easy and everything, he still refused to even look at that possibility. Next day our teacher returned our exams to us and, as expected, I was one of the perfect scores, and the teacher even asked me to be her assistant next semester. BF was pissed in. Even though it took me a while and some cheating on his part to take action, I broke up with him eventually. Current BF won't even hesitate to call me smart. Hope you two find someone better heart. Smart people don't need to brag about being smart. And most smart people realize there are loads of things they don't know. I'm pretty sure that wanting to feel superior to your partner is a red flag.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.